Welcome Taurus, your in-depth monthly horoscope for November 2024 for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. Please see beneath this video to view your year 2025 Zodiac forecast. You can also order your personal forecast for next year now, get the rest of this year free, and also your life roadmap report and 30% off. Please see below for that too. On the screen now, I'm showing your event chart right at the start of the month. We need to be mindful of the luminaries, but also, of course, your ruler. Your ruler, Venus, is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a very free-spirited, independent sign, but for you it's house 8. That can be where we're most devoted. It can also give you a desire to be close and passionate, particularly if there's someone in your world that's really calling out to you. Now, of course, the chart shows the combination of the moon and also the sun. That's going to close up later on the 1st of November and become the new moon. That gives you a gorgeous opportunity over the next month to focus on your interactions with others. The 7th house can be about marriage, it can be about partnership, but most of all, I feel, in a modern context, it's about understanding our needs in terms of relating, but also being aware of what other people need from us. The moon in Scorpio is technically in its fall, not its greatest location. The energy of Scorpio is passionate. So in a way, this is a new moon, which is asking you to really sense into the most profound of those connections. So Venus being in house 8 is just emphasizing that. Also, Mercury, the ruler of the sign of Gemini and Virgo, is joining up with Venus on the 2nd of the month. But the critical thing is, before then, Mercury is in an opposition with Uranus in your sign. Now that's a very interesting combination, and it could create a lot of tension, to be honest, because it's possible that if you feel that someone isn't tuning into you, isn't listening to you quite as well as they might do, could make you a little bit more outspoken and rebellious. And speaking of rebellion, with Mars and Pluto in an opposition broadly through the first 2 weeks of this month, but exactly on the 3rd across your communicational axis, the 3rd and the 9th houses, if there is someone that you encounter, perhaps who has ideas that you find truly inspirational, that can be a great way to become welded to what they have to offer. But unfortunately, the converse can be true. Mars and Pluto in an opposition can create tremendous strident energies, a lot of desire and willpower. But equally, just be mindful that in any kind of connection to others, people may see you as being very assertive, Mars in the 3rd house, but because initially it's housed in Cancer through to the 4th, there can be a potential to be a bit prickly and a bit defensive if other people have different world views. So if you're traveling, don't rush. If you're discussing something, and of course we've got a big event coming on the 5th, so there is going to be a lot of discussion. If people see things differently to you, there could be a tendency to be quite trenchant in your viewpoint, but then that could affect relationships. So try to stay aware of the need to ensure collaboration and the flow of dialogue to and fro is kept open right at the start of this month. But on the 4th, Mars does make a transition into Leo. Now, Mars loves being in Leo. It's a very grand location for Mars to be, and through to the 6th of December, it's going to be in forward motion. If there are things you want to achieve around a property matter, perhaps there's do-it-yourself tasks that have been put off, perhaps you're needing to get some contractors in to help you, your determination to make that happen is certainly going to step up. But on the 7th, Mercury goes into its pre-retrograde shadow. And that means that things are going to slow down. And because it moved into the sign of Sagittarius on the 2nd, joining up with Venus, that 8th house energy, anything about financial affairs could slow down. You might not quite get the information or the outcome as rapidly as you would like. The 11th, however, does see your ruler move into your sister Earth sign of Capricorn, the 9th house. But that's a position where Venus demands truths. And of course, the sign of Capricorn is really quite steadfast. It can be quite exacting because it's ruled by Saturn. So if there is someone that you have struggled despite that new moon and despite the intensity of all the energy washing around, you have struggled to know exactly where you stand with them, you're going to be determined to find that out from the 11th onwards. But on the 15th, Saturn ends its long retrograde. If your friendship sector has felt rather frozen for the last 5 months, things can start to shake up and loosen up. But on the 15th, there is a full moon in your sign. And if you have really tried to make something work around any kind of collaboration or partnership or even romantic situation early in the month, and you don't feel that you're getting the satisfactory feedback that you really want, I think it's possible on this full moon, because it's very close to Uranus, that a more rebellious side of your nature can come to the fore. In fact, in week 3 of this month, we are going to see the Sun in an opposition with Uranus, and that full moon suggests that if something isn't quite working, that part of you that can be quite single-minded will assert itself, and you could put a distance between you and someone that you don't feel is tuning into you. But on the 19th, Pluto moves back into Aquarius for its 3rd visit, very much about your connection to the wider world. If you started to really push forwards with great determination in March 2023, you may have had a purple patch around your career for about 11 weeks. There may have been more of that since the 21st of January this year through to the 2nd of September. But if things have stalled a little bit because you've been learning more, gaining more information, perhaps appraising yourself of a subject in greater detail, now you have an opportunity to face outwards to people again and demonstrate how talented you can be. The Sun plays catch up with Mercury on the 21st, making its way into your 8th house. So all the conversations that have gone on, despite the intensity of Mars opposite Pluto, despite the Sun opposite Uranus, and despite the full moon being shrouded in your sign by Uranus, the 21st, as the Sun makes its way into Sagittarius, is going to be a key moment. You're either going to invest more, dedicate your more to a situation or a person, or you're going to want to break free. But if you are a business person, the link to the Sun and Pluto can be really significant. There could be some kind of transition that really gives you greater power or releases you in some ways, but a way that works financially for you. So you could have a change of career at that point. The 26th, however, does see Mercury formally go into its retrograde for 19 days through to the middle of December, but it won't be until the 3rd of January that it emerges from that. So if you are trying to work out something to do with your long-term income, a pension matter, you're trying to transact on or complete on a property purchase, things could go frustratingly slow because of that Mercury retrograde. I should just say also that Mercury does in Sagittarius square up with Saturn in week 2. If there are people that you're trying to collaborate with, perhaps in business, that have different objectives or values, that could show up in week 2 as well. So this month, in summary, Taurus, is an opportunity really to bring some kind of warmth and movement and uplift to your relationship sector, but it's not going to be without some conditions, and those conditions are going to be your conditions and they need to be met. So I feel anyone that you're going to really get closer to is likely to have a worldview that aligns with yours. If you're involved in any kind of relationship where you see things very differently, that can cause some tensions. If you are traveling anywhere through the first 2 weeks of this month, don't rush the journey. You could get a home-based project that's stalled moving again from the 4th. The truth of any kind of relationship could become clearer at the heart of this month, but the full moon in your sign can definitely remind you of the need to maintain your agency, your independence, even in any kind of collaboration. And then later in the month, it's all about deep dives and transitions and transformations, but ones that can be very meaningful in your life indeed. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do check out your year 2025 deep dive forecast by clicking on the link beneath this video.